What is this? The video explains what you mean by Stephen Fry.
Can you see what's wrong with this scene? The trick is called forced perspective. It was used to shrink the hobbits in The Lord of the Rings. Deceptive framing has also created false assumptions about the EU, some very dark and some comical. This is the story of how a mythical EU dragon was conjured up and the striking truth behind it all. Headlines like these have been a reliable way for British newspapers to win attention. In 2015, the UN Human Rights Chief urged the UK to tackle tabloid hate speech after migrants were called cockroaches. The article in The Sun began, "Show me pictures of coffins, show me bodies floating in water, play..."
Like, Katie Hopkins is just a straight up white supremacist, which is pretty funny because while Katie Hopkins is white, there is straight up nothing supreme about her. One of the funniest things is when you have like the ugliest of fucking humans be like, yes, the whites. Katie Hopkins is a complete psychopath. Famous for writing things like this: rescue boats, I'd use gunships to stop migrants. No, I don't care. Show me pictures of coffins. Show me bodies floating in the water. Play violins and show me skinny people looking sad. I still don't care. This is how it feels to be a white conservative woman. I actually love this metaphor because it's a fake target and you put it there yourself. Exactly. Anyway, remember when she got owned by those South African dudes? That was pretty funny. I'm snitching. She's a 10 but watches Hasan streams. Yeah, she's an 11 then. She accepted a fake award that called her a cunt. That was pretty funny. As a Brit, I'm ashamed to say I was tricked into voting leave, and now we're all the ones being fucked by the consequences. Yes. They use my ineligible Pell Grant tuition to kill Russians so I can't refund my shit-ass college money. What? My lord? Please tell me you've seen this batshit insane ad. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. Anyway, so what is this? Breaking. My sources have confirmed that Juan Guaido. Okay, dude, come on. Let's be serious.
Play violins and show me skinny people looking sad. I still don't care.
You referred to a plague of feral humans. I mean, are they all feral? I mean, is it actually a plague?
This is the most, like, by the way, this is centrism in British media, okay? Same as centrism in American media. You said every migrant coming in from Libya deserves to be shot by a weapon. I mean, does every migrant really need to be shot? Maybe 30%, of course, but perhaps not 40.
Because you look at them and think, you are nothing like me. You don't understand how our culture works. These individuals from some of these cultures they come from are feral humans.
The UN described a nasty
He's being sarcastic.
Underbelly of racism.
Ian Hislop is cool. Okay, my bad. He's the narrator guy from the Stanley Parable.
And noted that Nazi media also referred to people as cockroaches and rats. Brexiteers sailed in on fears built up over decades.
And it was all built on lies, too. Built on the foundation of fucking lies. Roving rapist Muslim gangs. That they were all like, that like the government was hiding the truth about like Muslim immigration. And that, they were doing a lot of crime or whatever. Or they were... And for some fucking weird reason, they just like... Nobody considered this to be a real problem, you know? They use the word hordes. They use the word cockroaches.
This campaign poster captures the deception. The migrants aren't heading to Britain and have no way to reach it. The lone white face has been covered by the campaign slogan. When challenged, Nigel Farage felt no pressure to apologise.
Your poster has been taken by many people as deeply offensive, upsetting, racist, anti-Muslim. Would you like to apologise to them tonight?
Well, you know, I issued a very similar poster to that 2 months before with very little debate. The problem with the poster wasn't the image. After all, it appeared on all of our front page newspapers.
A leaflet played on the same fears with more subtle deception. It claims these countries are set to join the EU.
Huh. I wonder why they were very upset about these countries set to join the EU.
In reality, they have applied, but Turkey applied over 30 years ago and couldn't be further from joining. Syria and Iraq have not applied. They are shown for the fear factor. A second leaflet is less subtle. Turkey and Iraq are almost the same colour. The arrow, part of the visual language of invasion, includes all the colours of the region. Let's move the camera for a clearer view. This is what the NHS spends by age group. Add education and pensions, and we have half of all government spending. These are the demographics of immigrants.
For the record, Turkey will never join the European Union, and the reason Turkey will never join the European Union is because of that. 90 million Muslims is not 76. Turkey's population is like near 90 million. That's not happening. European Union would never allow 90 million Muslims, especially a much younger population to join the European Union. That would just never happen.
Immigrants. They are exactly what Britain needs to support its aging population. There is overwhelming consensus among economists that immigration is good for Britain's economy. Studies show they boost public finances because they pay more in indirect taxes and make much less use of benefits and public services.
What do they know? What do they know of the impact of immigration on school places and hospital waiting lists?
In fact, immigrants pay for more places than they use. European migrants made a positive net contribution of £20 billion to UK public finances between 2000 and 2011. That's enough to pay for an extra 80 million GP visits per year. Immigrants also reduce waiting lists by easing the NHS's recruitment crisis. This year, the NHS has 3,000 fewer EEA nurses, and 4,000 doctors are considering leaving the UK. Here's the second graph. It shows that most Leave voters live in areas with very few immigrants. 9 of the 10 districts with the highest Leave vote had low immigration. Lambeth in London, which recorded the highest Remain vote of 78%, saw a net annual influx of 4,598 immigrants, while Castle Point in Essex saw only 81 new immigrants. But 72% of people there voted Leave. At first, this might seem surprising, but it's a well-established trend that when we meet immigrants, we lose our fear of them. The illusion is broken.
Marxist Paul critique of the EU from a leftist perspective. Yes, the European Union is a fucking neoliberal organization. But the reason why I'm on board with like a Yanis Varoufakis style approach, progressive international style approach to the EU is because I understand the need for coalition, okay? A need for like a legitimate coalition, even if the institution itself is personally an arm of the neoliberal capitalist establishment. It is. It's true. I get it.
UK media is the least trusted in Europe by some margin. Perhaps even more readers need to recognise the deception before things improve. The Leave campaign also drove fear of losing democratic control.
We cannot hope to govern an independent nation. We cannot hope to have an independent democracy in this country as long as we are members of the EU.
Since 1999, the UK has voted in favour of EU laws 95% of the time and against only 2%. In search of an example of losing control to the EU, Boris suggested that the EU banned odd-shaped bananas, a myth debunked over 20 years ago.
It's always the dumbest shit. Like the dumbest fucking shit. Condoms, bananas, like, we're losing our sovereignty, Boris. We're losing our fucking passports. We're losing our sovereignty, Boris. Do something. Do something.
You cannot sell bananas with abnormal curvature of the fingers.
Other comical myths hardly need debunking. In his
EU wants to merge UK with France.
resignation letter, Boris pointed to a more serious example. He said, "If a country cannot pass a law to save the lives of female cyclists, when that proposal is supported at every level of UK government, then I don't see how that country can truly be called independent." The laws he refers to were in fact put forward by the EU and passed, despite some resistance among the UK government. Other EU achievements include taking sewage off bathing beaches, cheaper phone calls, fighting tax evasion by global companies, banning spam emails, and major breakthroughs in science and medicine through collaborative projects. But for Boris, the EU was like an alien force taking over Britain.
Let's fight against the great complacent, glutinous armies of the establishment. We can win. We can win on June the 23rd. Campaign between now and June the 23rd. Take back control of our country. Vote Leave. And let's make sure that June the 24th is Independence Day.
The framing of Boris and his colleague Jacob Rees-Mogg as fighting the establishment was also very forced. Jacob's father was the editor of the Times. In his own words, he was effectively born into the establishment. He is for fox hunting, against abortion under any circumstances, and personally delivered a Daily Express petition against foreign aid.
Dude, the best. I mean, straight up. The absolute best.
But the message resonated with people who had suffered years of income stagnation while the rich had grown richer. The Leave campaign blamed this on immigration, but studies show immigration does not deflate wages, and the real causes are well established. The 2008 financial crisis and government policies criticized by the UN as failing to promote social mobility. People without degrees, perhaps feeling trapped at the wrong end of income inequality, were far more likely to vote Leave. Central London is the EU's richest region, and yet 30% of UK children live in poverty. 100,000 more have fallen below the poverty line in 12 months. Boris and co seem unlikely candidates to deviate from this path. Projecting a fight against the establishment allowed the Leave campaign to brush research, data, and expert advice under the carpet.
What economics body is there that they should believe?
All the ones that are part of the sort of institutional infrastructure of big government, be suspicious of.
I think the people in this country have had enough of experts with organisations from acronyms.
The people of this country have had enough of experts.
From organisations with.
In a poll of top
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, bravo.
economists, 80% agreed that people in the UK would be poorer as a result of Brexit. Only 2% disagreed. Here's why there's such a consensus.
Putting up trade barriers is bad for your economy. The withdrawal from the EU is a form of putting up trade barriers. Full stop. You are ruining your.
I think the funniest part about Brexit was that, like, as I mentioned already, all of the reasons why the Conservatives wanted to leave the EU were completely unfounded, with the exception of immigration, okay, which did genuinely screw over it did genuinely screw over a lot of the people who ironically were like business owners and whatnot with like tariffs and shit, but like with with respect to like they're losing their sovereignty or whatever, their deal was already a very specific one with so much, with so many carve-outs. For the English, for Britland in general. So all it did was truly make it harder for them to then individually go back and make similar trade agreements. Which is hilarious. I take economics and I can confirm it's literally not real. I live in kind of a poor area of the UK, yet my economics teachers still push Tory-ass ideas. Of course econ professors do that. Like, the anti-capitalist reason for wanting to leave the European Union is one that revolves around wanting to maintain your own labor conditions and wanting to have autonomy over like what kind of labor protections you can offer if push comes to shove and the European Union tries to stop that from happening. Yet ultimately the Tories are not going to do that anyway, because to a conservative the only way to improve labor conditions is by not offering more rights to the workers, as you are seeing currently with the fucking railway strike, but instead by limiting immigration. And that's not how you improve labor conditions. You don't improve labor conditions by cutting off immigration if the capital owning class is already dominating the way that labor conditions are seen in the country, the way that labor is treated in the country.
Competitiveness specifically with your largest trading partner. It is a fact of life. It's one of the few things in economics we can talk about as a fact of life, that gravity applies.
The UK trades more with Ireland than with China. Yet Jacob Rees-Mogg says a no-deal Brexit would boost the economy by £1.1 trillion. Trump has, of course, employed a similar trick, branding the whole mainstream media as fake and projecting his own alternative facts. Perhaps the Leave campaign's greatest...
Dude, my favorite. Yeah, see? I've heard this so many times. Train drivers already get paid $60K a year to sit in a chair and press buttons. Yeah, bro. You want to know why? Because they have strong fucking unions, you absolute idiot. And because they demonstrate their power and their importance to the center of to centers of power, capital owners, regularly. And the railway union isn't the train drivers currently that are on strike. But it doesn't matter. They have gone on strike before, as I've talked about this before, and I've heard this exact line, this line of attack against them.
Trick, after dishonestly sowing and stoking so much groundless fear themselves, was to steal from that cheap Trump playbook and accuse Remainers of being guilty of their crimes. Just as Trump, the master creator of false facts, shouts fake news at whatever goes against his agenda, so the Brexiteers, the arch-instigators of electoral fear themselves, routinely labelled all the warnings from experts Project Fear. Expert warnings which have come starkly true throughout this shambles of a negotiation period.
Project Fear.
Project Fear.
Project Fear.
The truth is beginning to outshine the mythical dragon of the EU. Polls show that most people would now rather remain in Europe, and there is increasing support for a vote on the final deal, something Jacob Rees-Mogg once supported.
And you could have two referendums, and as it happens, it may be more sense to have the second referendum after the renegotiation is completed.
Should the will of the people change when they have clearly put their deal before them, would he respect that will of the people?
If in 30 years' time the UK wants to rejoin, that would be a matter for the electorate then. But this result must be respected and it must be implemented.
Perhaps in a final...
Yeah, no, my favorite one is the Brexit eel. Here, this is a great...
For 50 years, Peter has exported glass eels from his base in Gloucester.
This is so good. It's so good.
All his customers are in the EU, from Germany to Holland, Sweden to Greece.
This fucking idiot.
With
Remember
just
this
4
fucking
days
idiot?
till the transition period ends, he can feel his business slipping away.
We will produce the documentation, but unfortunately, our customers have also got a raft of documentation to produce to allow the import to go ahead. So why buy from the UK?
Not my fucking jellied eels, bruv.
Buy from another producer in
I'll
France.
make cultural
We can deliver
export.
to the door, no documentation, no problems.
You voted for Brexit. How are you feeling about that now?
I think, be careful what you wish for. Yes, I thought we were going to get a global market. This was going to be a new opportunity, but it hasn't turned out like this. I would have never have voted for Brexit if I knew we were going to lose our job.
Peter's business turns over around £2 million a year and employs around 10 staff.
3 times.
I thought that we were to get the fucking Poles eating our jellied eels. I didn't realise that this meant tariffs for no fucking reason, bruv. I didn't fucking realise.
A week, this company transports these baby
More
eels to countries
paperwork.
right across the EU. The fear for Peter and his staff is that if there's any extra paperwork for his customers because of this Brexit deal, it could make transporting these eels uncompetitive.
I mean, yeah, that's... How fucking stupid are you that your main job is exports and you literally voted for leaving the EU? Like, that's just your... It's like if you're an expat living in, like, Italy or some shit and you're like, yeah, Brexit means Brexit, bruv. It's like, yeah, you're fucked now. Good job.
Final vote, facts, would start to overcome fears. Wouldn't that be a win for informed democracy?
Unacceptable. Unfucking acceptable. Expat is just a word for white immigrants? Yeah, I know. That's why I used it. What the fuck are you talking about?